So even though Howie Roseman still won't invest into the linebacker position, at least he's spending money on the safety spot. The Philadelphia Eagles bringing back CJ Gardner-Johnson on a 3-year contract. NFL free agency day 2 has been active, and Howie Roseman continues to make moves. You're watching Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Let's talk about it here on the show. Adam Schefter breaking the news here just moments ago that the Birds signing safety nickel hybrid Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to a 3-year deal worth up to $33 million in max value. His agents confirming that news. He's going back to Philadelphia. And CD Deuce, that's his nickname, taken to X to also say, I'm flying home with the eagle emoji. We've been talking about this for weeks. In my perfect Eagles offseason plan, I had said I want CJ Gardner-Johnson back. He's not going to demand top-of-the-market money at that safety spot like, let's say, Xavier McKinney, who got $17 million per year from the Green Bay Packers, but at a discounted rate for a valuable player with really good instincts, swagger, confidence, playmaking abilities. I like CJ Gardner-Johnson a lot at this price tag, and I think that this is exceptional value. Now, in a way, Philadelphia is admitting that last offseason, in not signing him to that 1-year, $8 million contract, because after trading for him right before the lead-up of the 2022 season, they didn't think that he was worth it at that number. So they're admitting that they made a little bit of a mistake, and you could kind of tell that Howie Roseman, when I was at the NFL Combine and he was speaking with the media, even admitted that he didn't do enough to stack up the defensive side of the ball with playmakers. And that's what CJ Gardner-Johnson is, a playmaker. You could take a look at the Pro Football Focus grades, and he doesn't always grade out well. He'll miss some tackles and over-pursue from time to time. But it seems as though every time the Eagles, the Saints, the Lions, even though he didn't play all that much because of a torn pec this past year, needed a big play, he was in the right place at the right time. And what he's going to give this Eagles defense, a lot of things that they desperately missed last year. Ability to generate giveaways. They were awful at that a year ago. Swagger and confidence. They lacked it. He can play corner and safety, so he can be utilized as a chess piece for Vic Fangio's scheme. And I'm excited to see how the Eagles' new defensive coordinator is going to be able to utilize him in that regard. And he's a ball hawk with ball skills. Over his last 15 games, he has 7 interceptions. And you look back to his 2022 numbers, he had 6 picks that year for Philadelphia in those 12 games played. Those 6 interceptions, funny enough, tied him with another Eagle safety target up until this point in Justin Simmons for the NFL high for picks that year. And like I said, the coverage number's not exceptional, but he brought it in the Super Bowl, has no fear, and I just like the cultural fit, familiarity with the organization, and the injuries are a little bit of a concern. 3 games played here in 2023, 12 games played in 2022. He missed a few games in 2021, but for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, lacerated kidney, torn pec, those are kind of fluky injuries. These aren't injuries that make me very, very worried about his lack of durability here. And the Birds needed to get better at the safety spot. Now, you get so much better than you were last year. And now I kind of like the makeup of what you have at that safety position going into the NFL draft. Sidney Brown can be that hybrid linebacker playing the slot. He can play safety, hard hitter. Reed Blankenship, I think, is a really solid option at that other safety spot. And then you have CJ Gardner-Johnson as well. So the dog, swagger, versatility, experience with this organization, and his ability to make game-changing plays, which can change the complexion of a matchup, is something that the Eagles desperately lacked a year ago. He's also a pretty young player. And the 3-year, $33 million deal, he's probably going to have to do a lot to earn up to the $33 million. So right now we're looking at it, maybe $11 million in average annual value, when Xavier McKinney is getting $17 million per. This comes down to you getting a good player at good value who can change the course of your defensive direction. And that defense last year was one of the worst that I have ever seen in my entire lifetime of watching football. And I remember watching Eagles games as early as 4 years old. Some more thoughts to get to here. Eagles free agency tracker up to this point through about 2 days. First, this is why you subscribe to the show. We have been putting out so much long-form content. I believe our analysis is awesome as we go in depth. We want to make you smarter football fans. We want to entertain you. We've gone live for hours on end here on the show the last 2 days. And when a signing happens, of course, we're going to bring you the latest here. So the Eagles free agency tracker up to this point. 1-year deal for Brandon Graham. You lose Jason Kelce. It was really important to bring back another Eagles legend. Landon Dickerson, 4-year, $84 million contract extension, $50 million guaranteed. $21 million in average annual value makes him the highest paid guard in the history of football. Bryce Huff, 3 years, $51.1 million, $34 million guaranteed. That probably signals the end of Josh Sweat and or Hassan Reddick. We'll see if Philadelphia is able to find a trade partner for one of those players, both of those players. Jeff McClain of the Philadelphia Inquirer, who's about as good of an Eagles insider as anybody out there, said he wouldn't be surprised if Josh Sweat just gets cut if the Eagles cannot find a trade partner. That would be a little bit of a surprise, but with Huff, 10 sacks last year, 67 pressures, and that came on less than 50% of the snaps. So an analytical player who Howie Roseman really likes. The big splash signing, in addition to CJ Gardner-Johnson, Saquon Barkley, 3-year, $37.75 million deal, $26 million in guaranteed money. This is a player who, and it's coming from me, I don't like investing big-time dollars into the running back spot. But what weaknesses did you have offensively? Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, really good offensive line. You signed Devontae Parker to be a backup wide receiver. You didn't have a lot of needs. And you have cap space at your disposal. You get an edge rusher. You have to address linebacker still. You get a safety. We'll see what happens with corner, but you have a couple of good young corners on this roster. It's not like the Eagles are giving Saquon $26 million in guaranteed money when they have a bunch of holes on this roster. He makes you infinitely better, and he makes the job for your franchise quarterback a lot easier. And he was playing behind a horrific offensive line with the New York Giants. Now he plays behind one of the best. And his career yards per carry out of the shotgun is about a yard more than under center. Giants utilized him a lot running from under center. Eagles don't do a lot of that. So I like the move. Zach Bond, more of a pass rusher than he is a drop-back linebacker, 1 year, $3.5 million. Matt Hennessy, backup offensive lineman, Temple University owned, 1 year deal. Devontae Parker, 1 year, $4.69, but the Patriots are eating a lot of that. And then CJ Gardner-Johnson, 3 year, up to $33 million. And it's so funny, right? Because it didn't end all that great for CJ Gardner-Johnson, because he kind of dissed the fans, said that the fan base was annoying, wasn't happy with the front office. I don't care about that. You know what I care about? I care about having good football players on my football team. And Howie Roseman goes from, we don't want to give CJ Gardner-Johnson that money last year. We don't pay running backs, to giving $26 million in guaranteed money to Saquon, and then admitting his fault and his mistake in signing CJ Gardner-Johnson. And he's going to talk trash. He's going to tap into the identity of the city. And he was a fan favorite when he was with this team. And now we get to see him in the midnight green once again. I'm excited about it. Eagles free agency plan. Eagles perfect offseason plan. I had CJ Gardner-Johnson on my wish list. And I don't think the Eagles are going to regret this, because I think this is a really, really good football player here. So grade the Eagles signing here of C, D, Deuce, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know down in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe. Tomorrow we will be live once again for the official start of the new NFL league year. And of course, as all these moves come in, we'll talk about them here on the show. 4 shows yesterday, 3 today, live show yesterday, live show today. We're built different. Shout out to the real ones for watching.